I don't know if I'm being sensible or financially hurtful, so I thought I'd run it by some strangers on the internet before I bring anything up to him. Me, 28-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 30-year-old male, moved to a new house a few months ago. We had to live with his parents for the last year before that, so finances never really came up. We've been together for 10 years and never really had any arguments about money, but we have a son now, 3-year-old male, so things have changed since then. Our current situation is that I work full-time and he is a stay-at-home dad. Originally it was the other way around, but working ended up being much better for my mental health and he hated his job, so we both like it this way. But I do remember how depressing it is having no income of your own and having to ask for pocket money every time I wanted to buy something. Because of this, I make sure everything is done fairly. I take the rent money and put that straight into our joint account. The rest is split 50-50. But since we've lived in our new house, I've noticed he's been really iffy with money. He's really into a certain game, and he's spending money we don't have on it. I've noticed charges keep popping up on the joint account, which is only for bills, and he said it's an accident because he's got the card linked on PayPal, but after I nagged him to unlink it, suddenly it's Amazon charges popping up. Then this month my car didn't pass its MOT, and I had to spend all the money I'd saved since moving here, around $500 on the repairs, which left me broke. Now we can't afford food until I get paid, because it turns out he spent $300 and his whole $200 overdraft on the game this month, leaving nothing for emergencies. He used to be just as good as me at saving money, but over the last year, all his money is going either to this game or the bookies. The only reason we were able to move out was because I saved up the whole deposit for the house out of my 50% of my earnings. What I'm thinking is that I should pay the rent and bills from an account he doesn't have access to, plus put an amount in my savings before splitting the rest 50-50. But that won't leave him with much at all, and that does feel mean. But it means we'd have emergency money when we need it. Just to add, I do the food shopping, so his only outgoings are things like his phone bill and the occasional nappies milk from the corner shop when needed. TLDR. Would it be financially hurtful to have complete control over money and the bills if I don't think my boyfriend can be trusted not to blow his half of it? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. What I'm thinking is that I should pay the rent bills from an account he doesn't have access to. Do it, not the idiot. It's not financial abuse. It's preventing your partner from blowing your rent and food money on gaming and Amazon crap. I'd say the same if the sexes were reversed, just to prevent that argument. Again, comment 2. Not the idiot. I don't think this is financial abuse because he's demonstrated he's not capable of managing them. However, what would be the plan for him to change the behaviors he's displaying? Do you think being a SAHD has been bad for him mentally, and this behavior is a symptom? Comment 3. In most circumstances, this would be fiscal abuse, but he's literally blowing hundreds of dollars a month on a game that's eating out of your family's savings. The in-game payments are a luxury you can't afford right now, so I believe it is fair to restrict it. Now, for the update. After much contemplation and an outpouring of advice from this community, I decided to have a deep open conversation with my boyfriend about our financial situation and his spending habits on the game. It was tough to start, but I did my best to approach the subject without any blame, focusing instead on our shared goals and the future we're building together. To my relief, he was receptive and actually admitted to feeling overwhelmed by the transition to stay-at-home dad. He shared that the game had become a sort of escape for him, a way to feel in control when everything else seemed to be changing. It was an emotional moment for both of us, and understanding the why behind his actions helped us to start finding a solution together. We agreed to create a budget that gives him some personal spending money while ensuring our bills and emergency savings are the priority. We also found a free financial planning workshop for couples at our local community centre, which has been a great help in learning how to manage our finances as a team. But the best update I have to share is about his relationship with our child. We've set up a weekly Dad's Adventure Day where they explore different parks and libraries, and it's been wonderful to watch them bond. He's found joy and purpose in his role beyond the game, and our home is filled with stories of their mini adventures each day when I get home from work. Seeing the positive changes I never went through with taking over the finances. Instead, we review our expenses and budget together weekly, making it a joint effort. It's brought us closer, and we're both learning and growing through this process. Lastly, we managed to slowly replenish our savings, and when the car needed another minor repair recently, we were able to cover it without stress. It's been a journey, but I'm proud of how we've come together to tackle these challenges head-on. Thank you to everyone who offered support and guidance when I needed it most. Now for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. Kudos for having a mature convo instead of just blowing up at him. It's super cool how you both turned a potential nightmare into a bonding experience, setting up a budget and attending financial workshops. That's couple goals right there. Plus, it's wholesome that he's spending more quality time with the kiddo. You guys are setting up for a solid future, and that's what family is all about. Comment 2. You're the idiot for not addressing this sooner. You let him get away with irresponsible spending while being a stay-at-home dad, and that's not a free pass to ignore financial responsibilities. It's good you fixed it, but letting it slide until it became an issue? Not cool. It's important to nip these things in the bud before they become bigger problems. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You didn't just tackle the problem, you turned it into a growth opportunity for your relationship. Reviewing the budget weekly is such a smart move. It's like a mini date where you both get to focus on building your future together. And him bonding with your child more, that's the cherry on top. You've managed to strengthen your family dynamic and financial health at the same time. Now, for the next story. Last week, my girlfriend made plans to hang out with her friends on Saturday evening. Since she was going to be out, I decided to plan an online hangout with my friends during that time. She also knew about my plans for the hangout. On Wednesday, my girlfriend expressed that she was feeling sad and depressed, and each day it has been getting worse for her. I have been trying to do everything I can to help her, including going out every day to get her comfort food. I would ask her if there is anything I can do to cheer her up, but she would usually say no or that she didn't know what would help. On Saturday itself, my girlfriend changed her mind and decided not to go out with her friends in the evening. I asked her if she wanted to join my friends later that evening, and she said she would think about it. However, as the night went on, she realized she was too tired and went to sleep 30 minutes after my friends started using Discord. I had a fun night with my friends, but my girlfriend was upset with me for deciding to have the hangout while she was feeling sad and depressed. She told me that I should have cancelled my hangout night with my friends. I didn't want to argue with her because of how she was feeling, so I just apologized while she continued to admonish me. Personally, I don't think it was fair of her because she never indicated to me that she didn't want me to have the hangout, and she even showed some interest in joining. Additionally, she fell asleep before we even did anything, and I just don't know. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. She's depressed and needs to deal with her feelings and issues. You cannot and should not stop living your life because of this. The best you can do for her is to acknowledge the fact that it's hard for her and help her to get help. Comment 2. Not the idiot. She changed all her plans. She went to sleep within 30 minutes. What is her problem? Did you have to go to bed with her? Now for the update. The day after that whole hangout drama, my girlfriend wakes me up with breakfast in bed, pancakes, bacon, the works, and apologizes for the whole ordeal. Says she's been under a ton of stress and she didn't mean to lash out at me. I thought, cool, we're back on track, right? Wrong. Later that week, she loses her job. Massive layoffs, and she's devastated. I'm doing my best to support her, but it's like walking on eggshells. 2 days after the job loss, she tells me we need to talk. I'm bracing for a breakup, but instead she hands me these 2 tickets. She'd won an all-expenses-paid weekend getaway from some radio contest she entered months ago. Our bags are packed and we're off. The trip is like something out of a movie. Perfect weather, romantic dinners, walks on the beach. It's like we'd hit the reset button on our relationship. We come back home feeling like a power couple, ready to take on the world. But reality hits hard. We find a notice on our apartment door. Rent's going up, way more than we can afford, especially with just my income. So we're scrambling, looking for new places, crunching numbers, and she's hitting the job applications hard. But then out of nowhere, her old boss calls her up. Turns out one of the execs who orchestrated the layoffs got caught up in some scandal, and there was a big shuffle. They want her back, promotion and raise included, to help clean up the mess. She's over the moon, accepts on the spot. It's like whiplash, from losing a job to a dream trip to nearly being homeless to getting a better job. We celebrate by inviting both our friend groups for a big hangout at our place, and it's a blast. Everyone's getting along, my girlfriend's laughing and smiling, and it feels like we've just been through a storm, but we're coming out stronger. And then, get this, at the end of the night, with everyone gone and us cleaning up, she gets down on one knee, right there with the smell of stale beer and spilled chips in the air, and asks me if I'll move in with her, to a new place. As in, officially, not just half my stuff at her place. Turns out she's been saving for a down payment on a condo, and with her new job we can actually afford it. I say yes, obviously. So here I am, planning a move, engaged, sorta, and thinking back to 2 weeks ago when I was worried about a hangout. Life's wild. Now for the comments, comment 1, not the idiot at all. Your girlfriend sounds like a keeper, turning a tough situation into a positive one with that getaway. Plus, it's not every day someone gets a promotion out of a scandal. Sounds like you two are a great team, and moving into a condo together is the icing on the cake. Congrats. Comment 2. You're the idiot for not being more supportive. Your girlfriend loses her job and you're just chilling while she scrambles to fix everything. She even plans a getaway to patch things up. Then when she gets a promotion, you're just ready to celebrate and move into a condo. Maybe start pulling your weight a bit more, buddy. Comment 3. Not the idiot. And it's awesome that your girlfriend is so resourceful and forward-thinking. Saving up for a condo without you knowing shows initiative and planning for your future together. Plus, the fact that she managed to bounce back after losing her job so quickly. She's a superhero, and you're lucky to have her. Cheers to new beginnings. Now, for the next story, my in-laws make decent money. They live in a house that they bought over a decade ago for around $175,000 and is now worth over $300,000. They offered to sell us their house for $150,000. We gratefully accepted and planned on taking the house in a few years once they saved up for a down payment. We were very excited and would often talk about our plans for the house. Then I got pregnant, and we asked to just move in with them since the place we were living in was too small to raise a baby, and we were planning on buying their house anyway. They said yes and were super excited about it, and we moved in. We made a few adjustments to the house while we all lived there. We didn't want to make any changes to the house until it was ours, but they were adamant about some things like the carpet. His parents said it was fine to do other things like paint and install lights, but afterwards father-in-law got mad and said we were trying to kick them out of their house. They started looking at houses. Father-in-law complained constantly that they were going to be broke, having to buy a $300,000 house. They would have to take money out of their 401k. I did not want to burden them so much financially just because they wanted to be generous to us. I heard them talking about it and raised my concerns, and they freaked out at me and said we can't turn it down. I talked with my husband about this and how I thought we should back out of our deal and buy a different house. We have less expensive tastes. We agreed on wanting a ranch under $200,000, and we already had $100,000 saved up for a down payment on it renovations. He ended up agreeing, and we sat down with his parents and said how we didn't want the house, and we would just buy a different one. They were pissed and yelled at us and said we weren't allowed to back out just because they were complaining about the cost of a new house. We ended up having to lie that the main reason wasn't their finances when it was. They gave us the silent treatment for about a week. After that, they sat us down and told us that we weren't allowed to change our minds. They're keeping their house and already planned some renovations to the kitchen and other areas. Today, over a year later, they still live in their house and plan to stay in it for the foreseeable future. We have a house that met our preferences. I love it, but my husband has issues with it. Occasionally, when the in-laws come over, they'll find something negative to comment about and say something like, "You could have had a nicer house." My husband told me recently after one of these comments that he couldn't sleep for a week because he regretted our decision, and that was his dream house and he wishes we would have gotten it. There's no way we can afford a house like that at full price, and he hates how small ours is. He says how his parents are rich and they would have been fine. His dad just likes to complain. He doesn't blame me, but I know I caused us to back out. Now for a few comments before the update, comment 1, not the idiot. They'd have made comments about it until the day they died, at which point you'd get the house anyway. Comment 2, they're definitely not rich if $300k for a house is a big deal to them, not the idiot. Comment 3, sorry, where do you live that $300k is a rich house? That is dirt cheap where I'm at. Now for the update. It's been a month since we moved into our new place, and the tension hasn't eased. The in-laws' remarks have only grown sharper, and my spouse's regret hangs heavy in our home. They walk through the rooms touching the walls as if trying to find something that isn't there. The dream of the other house looms over us, an uninvited guest at every meal, every quiet moment. Last week, the in-laws stopped by unannounced. The visit was fraught from the start. They walked through the door with tight smiles, eyes scanning every corner, every choice we made that differed from their tastes. I heard them in the kitchen, the murmurs just low enough so I couldn't catch the words, but the tone was clear, disapproval. My spouse tried to laugh it off, but the effort didn't reach their eyes. 2 nights ago, the argument that had been brewing finally boiled over. My spouse couldn't contain their frustration anymore, saying how we should have just taken the offer, how we could have avoided all this strife. The words stung. I reminded them of our financial worries, our plans, but it didn't help. The conversation ended with them walking out of the room, and we've been orbiting around each other since, stuck in a silence that's too loud to ignore. And then, yesterday, a call from a family friend. The in-laws have put their house on the market. They're moving forward with the renovations, determined to wash their hands of the whole ordeal. It feels like a door has closed, a finality that's somehow worse than the lingering doubt. My spouse hasn't said much since we found out. They're pulling away, retreating into a shell of second guesses and what-ifs. I lie awake at night, listening to the quiet of a house that doesn't yet feel like home, wondering if our relationship can weather this storm. We thought we were building a future, but now it feels like we're standing in the ruins of what might have been, unsure of how to rebuild or where to even start. Now, for the comments. Comment 1, not the idiot. Your in-laws have no right to be so critical about your living situation. It's your house, not theirs. They need to back off and let you and your spouse make your own decisions. Hang in there and make sure to communicate with your partner about how you're feeling. Comment 2. You're the idiot. It sounds like you didn't consider your spouse's feelings enough when deciding on the house. Moving is a huge step, and if they regret the decision, it's a big deal. You both need to be on the same page, and it seems like you pushed your own agenda without enough compromise. Comment 3. Not the idiot. It's not fair that your in-laws are stirring the pot and making things worse. You and your spouse need to stick together and face this as a team. Their decision to sell their own house is theirs to make, not something for you to worry about. Focus on your relationship and don't let outside noise shake your foundation. Now for the next story. I have been thinking about this the last few days, so I decided to post this here. Last week I had Thanksgiving dinner with my family early. It's a family tradition. I, a 21-year-old male, have been going to college, and I only get to see my family during the holidays. They were asking me how things are going and stuff like that. I don't really remember what led to it, but my dad eventually makes a hateful comment about how gay men are weaker than regular men. I asked him about one of my best friends, Tom, not his real name, who happens to be gay and someone my dad has met multiple times. For context, Tom is a big guy, goes to the gym multiple times a week, and works in a warehouse moving heavy boxes. I don't remember the exact wording he used, but he responded by something like, they only hired him to meet their diversity quota, and a real man would do his job 10 times better. I was taken aback when I heard this. Tom is a really great friend, and someone who is very important in my life. I cleaned up my stuff, said my goodbyes, and then left. I feel bad for leaving early, especially since I don't get to see them that often, but I was so offended that I couldn't stay there for another minute. Am I the idiot for leaving Thanksgiving dinner early? Now for a few comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I wouldn't want to sit at a table with bigoted jerks either. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Life is too short for that hateful nonsense. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You are a good friend to Tom. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.